So we are starting here audit planning and risk assessment. We had a detailed discussion about audit planning activities last week. They were discussing the rest of the area. So basically focusing about risk assessment as well as the maturity calculation. Those are the very complex area in a statutory audit, right? So last week, I have recapped the last week content. Firstly, we understood the requirement from the auditee and we had an engagement letter. For that, we evaluated the client independence, right? Engagement level independence, company level independence, firm level independence, client acceptance, engagement acceptance. So we may have a different set of audits. Sometimes it may be a new client, new engagement. New client, new engagement, a previous client, a new engagement, previous client, previous engagement. Kind of an engagement continuous, right? Example is last year, ABC company, we are the auditors. We did the statutory audit, right? This year also we are doing the same audit. It is so, same client, same engagement, we are repeating to this year. So the question is, do we need to again reassess the independence? Then if there's a question in the exam paper, we have a kind of a continuous client, right? So the client continuing with us. So then we are giving the service, statutory service to them. How we need to do that independent testing again and again for auditing. How to do that? What's the reason? So then the relationships may be changed. Economic situation may be changed, right? So then previously we don't have a relationship with the auditee. He didn't have any share investment, didn't have any directorships. So due to the changes in the company environment and the economy, this relationship may be changed. One of our key partners in audit firm have invested in this company this year, right? So we can't get this engagement, right? So after the first audit, so the engagement partner, senior manager, can develop a kind of a relationship with the CFO, right? That can be ended with the very day, right? So then it's a kind of impact to independence. So then we have to re-evaluate the independent status of an audit. Continuously we have to evaluate. So the day we are starting the audit, we have to do independent testing. And in between we have to test. And end of the period we have to again test. Whether is there any impact to the independent. Right? So that's the first point. And then again what we did, we understood the client and then we did an engagement letter. We had a detailed discussion about engagement letter. So what is the content? What are the benefits to have engagement letter? So these are basic things, right? So after having the engagement letter, what's the next step? We got a proper audit team. People who are joining virtually, I hope that you are with us.
Yes, sir.
So then we are going to appoint audit team, particular audit, right? So then we discuss what are the aspects we have to consider once we are getting audit team members. Basically, it's kind of a general concept, right? For whatever the task, you need a kind of a team. So once you are appointing a team, what are the things you need to consider? That may be a highly possible question in the exam. So as audit manager, so what are the considerations you have to evaluate once you are appointing audit team for particular audit? Very simple question, right? So what are the things for the experience? What's the the complexity of the audit, right? whether it's a recurring audit or a new audit, independence level, and then industry, whether last year experience required for this year. What else? Expert support it requires. Is that a kind of a virtual office? Is that a kind of a manufacturing company, insurance company, bank? So the particular industry will be a matter, right? And then deadline. So if it is a kind of a tight deadline, we have to appoint more staff members, right? So then basic things. So if there's a question like that, you have to think about the case study and use this content to a proper answer. So that is the point I stopped last week, I guess. Right? The selecting the audit team members. So then, once we are selecting audit team members, we have to focus about what? Audit quality. Audit quality means? Audit quality means what's the expectation about audit quality? Audit quality क्या है? Quality. We can achieve something like the expectation is the quality. To measure the quality, we should have what? Standards. Whatever the situation, if you want to measure the quality, you should have standards. So then, whatever the output you are getting from the audit should be complied with standards and the basic expectation about the stakeholders. If this output should have that capability of fulfilling the expectation from the stakeholders. Basically, we should have a correct audit opinion from a audit. That's the basic quality aspects of a audit. What else? Actually, the quality can be divided into two different aspects. Engagement level audit quality and then firm level audit quality. So this is the two areas we are focusing as a audit manager or audit partner. We have to ensure the firm level audit quality. As an audit firm, we have to ensure that all the audits are in the quality standards. And then engagement level. So we have to take decisions over that. So what are the actions we can take? Firm level audit quality, engagement level audit quality. Once we are discussing about audit quality, we have two different levels. Definitely, firm level audit quality may impact to the engagement level audit quality. Wow. That quality impact on classroom level or the lecture quality. So whatever the quality output giving to the impact to the quality of the lectures, quality of the exams. So it's a byproduct. It's kind of a sub part of that. Right? So then again I'm repeating. So what are the things we focus about audit quality? Basically the final outcome. Other than that, once you are appointing audit team, as I discussed last week, we should know the personal commitments of audit team members. Am I correct? So whatever the exams they are doing, let's say we have kind of a trainees who are doing SAP campus exam, right? We are putting all the members from SAP campus trainees, not CA, no Japura, not Galle. So we should have a mix, otherwise we can't achieve the deadline. In one go, they are going for Saturday, right? So those things should be considered. Audit manager, maternity leave number may some mass to audit deadline a period. So then we should have a proper assistant manager supervisor in the audit to manage that, right? So that should be a kind of a succession plan we should have once we are deciding the team. So we have to consider the personal commitments as well. Keep in mind that, right? Moving to Audit quality. Audit quality basically focus about what? Final outcome. You have to issue a correct audit opinion to the audience, the stakeholders. Stakeholders should be satisfied to take decisions. The audit opinion should be relevant to their decisions. Correct decision. What else? Quality is a part of the outcome, and then what are other areas? What do you think? As a quality audit, or not? That's a fundamental badge. Quality is we should have good results. Right? So the classes as well as pass rates, marks for the subjects, are the quality of a batch. Other than that, attendance, right? The participation for other activities, number of trips, right? The quality here, right? Again, the unity among the students. So those will be the quality. Yes. Presentation skills. Those will be the quality. Then audit team quality, other than the final outcome, other than the correct audit opinion, in audit team, they should have proper documentation. Proper documentation. They should have proper succession plan. And then the end of the audit, there should be an improvement in the the learning curve. They have to go up. They have to climb up the learning ladder, right? So then the audit team should improve. They should have the kind of a opportunity to balance their lives. Otherwise, end of the audit, then they get the hospital again. Failure. Not audit failure. Basically, as a whole, it's not good. Other than that, what else? So the less number of complaints, right? So what are the insights we have given to the audit team? The relationship. And other than that, how fast you are collecting your audit bill. It's a part of the audit quality. So then as audit manager, as audit senior manager, so I'm looking at that. So how fast we are getting the audit bill. Otherwise, you are not getting capable service. No? You have to collect, recovery. So the realization, cost effectiveness of the audit team. Right? And then how much we the reduce our cost. So in global angle, so the number of hours we utilize from GDS. GDS is a kind of a concept. So the whatever the simple tasks we can outsource. GDS means that. So once you are involving with the global audits, so this is a kind of a basic concept. We can get the service from GDS. GDS is Indian teams are there. So once we are having kind of simple things, kind of vouching and preparing documents, casting and those kind of things we can outsource. And within short time, we are expert. We are sending that. We are taking time to that. We are taking number of hours. So we are expert on the taking decisions. We are not consuming time to that. We are outsourcing that, and we are spending time for the critical decisions. It means audit team we have only 1, 2 audit executives. Whatever the simple things we can get support. That's how this regional, the other regions are doing this audit expert service. Otherwise, we can't manage the audit bill. For expert, we have to pay much payments, and then we are managing through GDS support. So then, how we are managing that number of hours is a kind of a picture of the quality. How we maintain the audit independence. Then audit එක පටන් අරගෙන ඉවරලා මැදට යනකොට audit team එකේ දෙන්නෙක් විතර finance team එකේ ඉන්නවා. It will impact to the audit. That's not audit quality, right? So we have, as audit manager, we have to manage that. We can convince that you can join with audit team, but take a time. So in the local firms, local firms and the global firms, they have internal regulations. As audit manager, we have kind of cooling period. If we want to join with the auditee, we have to take 2 years time. So those are the basic things, internal, the guidelines. So it enhances the quality. Otherwise, it will impact on independence, right? So those are the things we are considering as a quality audit. After a quality audit, we should have proper audit opinion, proper team, proper succession, proper documentation, recovery of the bill, and then Aman audit, අවුරුදු ඊළඟ audit එකේ වෙනුත් bill එක අරගෙන. මොකද එතකොට there may be many complaints over there. So those will be evaluated for the promotions of the senior manager. So for manager promotion, what they are looking at? So the recovery and the quality, complaints. These are the aspects we have to consider the quality. Another thing is the number of, finding through global review, local review. Right? So as I discussed, as auditor, we may be reviewed by some other parties, third parties, who are there. Locally, monitoring board maybe, that chartered institute can question about something, and then FCID, and then global audit, big four firms having global audit, the technical teams, they are coming and they are reviewing our procedures. Right? So last week I discussed these things. So once we are having kind of a review, less number of findings, only improvements, right? Ranking, those are things, clinical standard, number of the audit members getting promotion in the recent cycle, and number of the KPI achievement, positive comments, feedback. So those are the quality aspects of a quality audit. You can think and you can write. So how can I ask the question in the exam? So I can create a kind of a case study mentioning some issues related to these areas, with some relationships, some bad comments, bad ratings from global reviews. We can develop a case study. And then again I can ask, so as audit manager, what are the aspects we have to consider to enhance the audit quality? What are the aspects of areas? Right? So then again I am asking, what are the steps you can take? Aspect and the step. Essentially, what are the action you can? So what are the responses for this less quality areas? So then, if there's a kind of a complaint, there's a kind of the bad rating from global review, what we have to take? So we have to analyze the root cause analysis, and we have to take preventive action for next year audit. If it is a technical matter or kind of qualitative matter, so we have to consider that. We have to have a root cause analysis and resource analysis and take actions. And basically trainings. Right? Sometimes some audits, so there may be kind of a very human related issues are there, HR related issues, parakku related issues. Advice සකාරයසන් කතා කරන කෝලේ. සවාල් බැටිකින් ඉන්නේ 10ට දෙන්නේ. හිනාල කියන්නේ ඇත්තට මහත් දෙන්නේ කියලා. එහෙම හන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක මොකද අපි කරන්න ඕනේ? ඒක අපේ ඉන්නේ කියලා. ඒක අපුරුද්ද සමහර මැනේජර්ස් මෙහෙම කරනවා. කෙලින්ම ගිහින් HR එකට කියනවා. HR එකට කියන මෙන්න මේ තමයි මේකේ full damage. personal file letters down. That's a good way. We can't manage team. So we have to be very friendly with them. So we have to ask them what the reason. Can't you come with early? Or so that if you are continuously getting delayed, can you do some late works? Then we can manage that. Otherwise, if you are once you be a manager, whatever the field, whether the finance team or whatever the cost finance investment team or audit team, so we have to be very flexible with the human aspect. Otherwise, you can't manage. So let's say that's my approach. That once I'm doing that kind of activity, yeah, I have to be very flexible. The leave also same. People are getting leave, right? The leave can be divided into two. So then suddenly they are taking leaves. So some planned leaves are there. The wedding or the part of the leave, right? Pahina you know, later. So put it all again. So the corner. Give it that long weekend in the barrier. The past day. Past the code. I mean, that's the key. That's what a manager there. Go here. At the end of the lazy. Man practical. Like study leave here, exams studying here. So they are giving that chance. So then if they don't have that allocated leave, so what we can do? We can help them. We can give some more time, 2-3 days extra leave. Right? If you are doing that, that person definitely come back and finish off all the works. They will do some late works and they will finish it off. So that's how people are reacting. If you are punishing them, so let's say that sometimes they are having mid-semester exam, right? So that will leave them there. Yeah, how much exam is real or not? This better again. Yes, better then in the exam, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. What to be 3 o'clock, you have to come morning and work, so you can leave 12 o'clock. You are telling that as a manager. Is that effective? Okay. Yeah, they are going to take it. පුළුවන් නම් ස්ක්‍රීන් එකේ සොප්ප් එකක් ඕපන් කරලා ඒක පාඩම් කරලා තමයි. ඊට වඩා තමයි what's the strategy? ඒක strategy is great. So that's how we have to manage people. So we can tell them, so you have evening exam to take a leave today. So the morning you have to spend for mid exam. After mid exam, after 5 o'clock, you can come over here if you have the time. Otherwise, no issue. So they are over there. Motivation again. So then our team members thinking about me. So they are giving time to me, right? To do the exam. And then I have to work hard. So then I have to give my maximum effort to complete the audit. So that's how we have to deal with people. If they have kind of a function, family function, or kind of housekeeping, or kind of a funeral, or wedding, or something like that. In the situation, one of our managers help so then, after he coming back, he will give a full support to the outcome. So that's how we have to manage people. Otherwise, if we are, the punishing them and so the aggressive approach to HR function is a kind of a waste. For continuously, so then they can misuse this approach. If it is so, we have to identify that and then take action. So these approaches should be used for the audit field as well, human aspect. Otherwise, so the not like other processes, other services. Auditing is kind of a difficult task, right? Daily we have problems, we have to solve problems. For that, we should have a proper mindset. The audit cannot be lazy. So the daily differentiation problems, searching, the solutions. So we have to have a peaceful mind. To do that, you have to have kind of a motivation, and then the surroundings should be very peaceful, And then only we can think about, transactions and fraudulent activities. We can figure it out what are the relationships, right? We can do analytics. So for that, we have to have a peaceful mind. We have to create that as a manager. So it's a part of a audit team as well as a audit team. We have to have a audit team and the surrounding to be very peaceful to take decisions. Then only we can get decision with the professional skepticism. That's a one of the words we are going to discuss. Audit quality. Here we have two words: professional skepticism and professional judgment. We take professional judgments over issues. We have to have a peaceful mind. We should have a proper audit team. And then we want to get professional skepticism. We have practice over that. We have proper team as well as a proper environment. But in quality, you can refer this standard. SLSQC1. So that is the standard we have to follow to enhance the audit quality in the firm level and as well as the engagement level. Firm level audit quality, engagement level audit quality. So once we're going through this standard, we have different, the approaches. Firm level, what we have to do. Engagement level. Firm level, one of the current audit enhance current. Firm level. So what we should do to enhance the firm level audit quality. Basically, so the systems, IT aspects, trainings, right? Professional culture, reporting formats. Key aspects is what should have proper, the independence evaluation. Then some of the big firms having sophisticated tools to evaluate independence. Family tree evaluation. Family tree, so as a group companies, they have the branches and parent subsidiary relationships. Global relationships are there. So we have common directors, right? So we have to have kind of evaluation. And as a global firm, parent company may be in another country that can get from the same service from same big four firm, right? So then that should be evaluated. So they should have proper tool to evaluate independence. And then as a firm, we should have proper KPI evaluation mechanism, feedback mechanism, performance evaluation system, right? Success, different, the applications are there to evaluate KPIs, feedback mechanism, then mid-year review, end-year reviews, right? And then mentor-mentee relationship should be there. So the supervisor member should be allocated to one audit member. And then we have to have a kind of a relationship with them. And then always supervisor member giving feedback to mentee. Right? So that relation should be managed. So end of the day, the final results can be discussed in a round table. So those are the things we can get to enhance the firm level quality. Other than that, not that. So we have to communicate the proper attire, professional behavior, right? And then usage of ID. නැත්නම් පොඩි එකකට මොනවද? ගෙදර ඉන්නා වගේ තමයි එන්නේ ළම. ඒක කියන්න වෙනවා. So we have to maintain that professional attire. You have to use these things. Right? Ladies කට වෙනම training දෙන්න වෙනවා. Gents කට වෙනම training දෙන්න ඕන. Otherwise, we can't manage that. So that is a kind of a firm level quality. So the audit firm is now So we have to manage that quality. So we are getting big four service, right? So then they expect that quality and quality deliverables. So then letterhead should be in line and the contact details and updated letterhead should be used and delivery the deliverable should be in different modes, virtual the soft copy, scan copies, then original documents. So then final outcome should be very perfect. To enhance that, we should have proper guidelines and protocols in the firm level. So the deadline should be fixed. The reporting structure should be fixed. Archival dates. Archiving means after completing audit, we have to save document, virtual mode and then physical mode. Physical file should be kept in a storeroom. So that's kind of archiving process. So that should be, for that we have to have proper protocols. After archiving file, as audit manager, we can get that for review purpose. Otherwise, we can't amend. If we want to do some amendments, there should be a very the complex approval process. Those protocols should be there. Upload audit එකක් කරලා file එක විකටම amend කරන්න පුළුවන්. That's no point. Right? So those are kind of firm level audit quality. So these are the steps we can take to enhance the firm level quality. Engagement level quality. Basically, engagement level quality should be maintained by audit manager. Engagement level of quality. The first one, independence, right? And then knowledge level. So we have to have internal knowledge about the subject matter. And then audit update, follow up, and knowledge about industry and trend, regulation changes, right? And then how about the succession plan in the engagement level? So then the audit should train the next year seniors, next year audit manager, right? The next year, this year audit supervisor can be manage the audit team for next year. So that succession plan should be there in engagement level. Those are the aspects. So then basically you have to remember that as an auditor, we should have firm level audit quality. So that's engagement level audit quality. Hope that you are okay with this. If you want to read more, you can search this standard. So there is a kind of a lengthy standard. You can go through that. Then you can get a proper knowledge about how we can manage firm level and engagement level audit quality. So the end of the day is kind of a critical aspect as audit partner, audit managers, we need to look in. Okay. Right. Right. We have audit team and we are focusing about audit quality and audit team. The leaders are there. We have proper hierarchy in the audit team and guidelines should be communicated. Right? So then basically the audit team should have kind of unity among the people. Otherwise, the audit team members always focusing about kind of a area allocated to them. That won't be the practical, right? Audit is, as I said, audit is a one process, right? So then we have done kind of a work allocation. So we divided that. So we are auditing kind of a double entry, right? double entry system. So then cash payment, cash credit, then we pay. The people who are auditing expense area should have kind of a relationship with the people who are auditing cash. So then the person who are doing cash evaluation, expense evaluation, so should have kind of a dialogue, proper dialogue, right? Wow, the cash කරන්නේ මම expense කරන්න කියලා කතා කරන්න audit කරන්න බෑ. So whatever the issues identified, the fraud activities, mistakes should be communicated to each members in auditing. Otherwise, you can't use that. If there's a fraud in some area, so then there's a fraud risk for other balances as well. So that there may be a fraud in inventory management, right? So it's serious fraud because that must happen in different reason, right? So that that should be communicated to other members. So that there may be a fraud in cash as well, fixed asset as well. So then you have to have proper communication between each audit members. And then if you are doing kind of a virtual audit, really difficult to manage that communication and quality. So some of the situations, you can join with foreign audit firms. You are here, you are auditing, you are doing audit procedures. But do that, but you should have proper communication between the team members. So what are the controls we can apply? What we can do? We can have kind of a daily updates and weekly, review meeting, and then emails and teleconference, video conference. So those may be kind of controls we can apply for audit quality engagement level, right? Likewise, we can suggest many suggestions as audit manager, as an audit partner. You may have different experience, different situations to handle, and to adopt that situation and change the culture. So then you have to take decisions under firm level as well as engagement level. So your role may be different. You may be the part of an audit team, you may be audit manager, and then you can you may be a CFO in a listed company. You can see the audit team which was appointed by the audit firm. So you can question. So, this is the audit team we have, you have sent to our audit. So there's no such a quality. You have to pay special attention about the audit deadline, their documentation. Files so then your team dealing with our financial information, right? Confidential information, right? So then you can question to have that, have that dialogue. You should have a proper understanding about the quality delivery, right? So then, if you are paying to an auditor, you have to get that proper outcome. Get that auditor should maintain their quality. So that's the main understanding you should have. Quality we have to implement, operate, manage, and then only you can get the quality outcome. So whatever the area you are in, so in the educational area, whatever the innovation and whatever the entertainment, if you want to get a quality outcome, you have to control that. You have to have the standards. So the service level standard. So then I'm doing insurance, right? I'm a part of a internal audit team in an insurance company. So we have service level standard to maintain the quality. If we have an intimation, claim intimation, we have to respond within 5 minutes, let's say. And then the claim file should be concluded within a day. Likewise, we have standards. Then only we can maintain the quality. So then how we can measure how we can have the standards in audit. So it may be kind of a standards given through local regulator, standards given through local firm. We should have set of standards. Standards for documentation, standard for delivery, standard for archival process, training. Training should be in a proper standard. Otherwise, people are not doing that. You have to, give KPIs related to training. We should have mandatory trainings to update people, right? There's a change in the auditing or accounting standard. We should have proper training set. So the standards should be set for different areas. And then internal protocols, very valid. But here is 5 o'clock වැඩ කරන්න. එහෙම කියලා නැත්නම් මොකද? ඕන වෙලාවට එනවා ඕන වෙලාවට යනවා. That's not the quality, right? So from that onward, we have to develop that protocols and rules and procedures. Then only you can maintain the quality outcome. Those are basic things. No need to teach you all. Right. So then we can go to these new words. How do you think about this? Professional skepticism. Professional skepticism and professional judgment. Right. So what are the areas you have to use your professional judgment? Can you give me a kind of example? Professional judgment. So what are the areas we are using professional judgment? As auditor, as a human being, or judgment should be professional. Not professional judgment can be. But actual විදිහට judge කරන්න පුළුවන්. කැත විදිහට judge කරන්න පුළුවන් නේ. අපි ගොඩක් ගන්න දෙන්නේ. අර කැත විදිහට judge කරනවා. දන්නේ real එකක් කියන්නේ. මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා දන්නේ. එළියේ පේන දේ බලන්න judge කරලා ගන්න හදාගන්න මාන. The kind of hobby එක. අපි දන්නේ එහෙම hobby එකක් අපි කරනවා කියලා. ඒක hobby එකක් කරනවා. මාන ආසයි ඒක judgment හදාගන්න. And a judgment, මොකක්ද කියන්නේ audit වල? We have to take professional judgment. As a judgment හදාගන්න එපා කියන audit වල. As auditor, you have to take judgment very professionally. You can't be biased. Right? You can't take decision to your better. You should be very professional. You have to think about the stakeholders. Think about the quality outcome. Based on that, take your decision, take your judgment according to the reporting frame. It should be complied with legal framework as well as the accounting framework. So then only you can do professional judgment. To do a professional judgment, you have to have proper, the base, proper set of information. You have to come to the judgment based on analytics. That's about the professional judgment. So the areas of judgment. Judgment is an enormous. No, again, what is judgment? So there is judgment. Accounting issues. Accounting issues, sir. ඉවෙන් ජජ්මන්ට් එන්න පුළුවන්. එක්සම් කියන්නේ ඒරියා එක. එක්සම් වලට ජජ්මන්ට් එකක් මොනවා කියන්නේ. හරි accounting issues. වලදී judgment වලදී. accounting estimates වලදී judgment වලදී. Judgment. At this point we have to do a judgment. Take a decision, we have to get a judgment. At this point we are doing the judgment. If we have kind of an exact answer, factual answer, do we need to get a judgment? No. Again, electricity per second 50,000. Do we need to do a judgment to put that in? You are putting the same rate, you are putting the same rate. That's no judgment. Right? So then, once you are taking a decision, you have to take judgment in a kind of a, we don't have exact answer. We have answers 1, 2, and 3. You have to take a judgment and select one. To do a kind of a judgment, you should have a selection. But judge කරලා තමයි select කරන්නේ. What select කරන්න ඕන නැත්නම් what ඕන තරම් ඉන්නවද? what judge කරන්න දෙයක්? If it is factual, that's not judgment. If it is a gray area, we don't have exact answer. We have to conclude. Conclusion, for do a proper conclusion, we have to take proper judgment. What's the exact rate we have to use? There are many rates in the market to do a kind of work. Not about auditing, to do investment assessment, the NPV calculation. What is the rate we are using for the discount factor? There are many discount factors. Are you using IR? Are you using the internal rate of? Are you using the rate of interest rate, incremental profit rate? Are you using the tax-free rate, tax-free bill per bond rate? So what's the rate we using? That's a professional judgment. You have to use what is the exact, what's the proper rates you have to use. For such situation, you have to do a professional judgment. So the basic distinction. You have to do a judgment. So what's the rates you have to use? How about the useful lifetime? Economic useful lifetime versus useful lifetime. Economic useful lifetime of asset. Useful lifetime of asset. Useful lifetime of asset will be discussed in case 16. Economic useful lifetime of asset. Just in this standard. Economic useful lifetime have been given by the manufacturer. Useful lifetime is unique to the company. The asset may be used by that company. So that company should decide the useful lifetime. So the useful lifetime may be changed to asset based on the company requirement. But the economic useful lifetime of asset is a fixed number given by the manufacturer. So I hope that we have that knowledge. So that we can compare that. So if we are getting a refrigerator, so the manufacturer has given a period, 15 years, right? We have 10 refrigerators, right? So that can be used 10 different companies. The useful lifetime they are using for the depreciation purpose may be different. 1 for 5, 1 for 6, 1 for 8, 1 for 10, 1 for 15. Right? Based on that, the residual value may be varying. So the economic useful lifetime is 15. Economic useful lifetime is the lifetime given by the manufacturer to use that asset for that whole purpose. Is the economic useful lifetime. For purpose. Fridge එක cool කරන්න නැතුව අපිට එකක් විදිහට පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් එළි දාන්න ඒක useful lifetime economic useful lifetime දෙන්නේ එනවා 30 years පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. So the economic useful lifetime is the lifetime given by the manufacturer to the whole purpose. That's the standard. So then once you are designing these things, once you are using these things, you have to take judgment. As auditor, we have to take professional judgments. How we have to practice over that with the experience, with the knowledge, with the skill you have. Industry specific skill may lead to have proper professional judgment. That professional judgment may lead to have a proper outcome. Means a quality audit, means a direct audit opinion. If you are a proper auditor, if you are kind of a professional auditor, it means a set of professional judgment. Technical partner can different formal. Saying many the technical decisions, judgments. And then again, professional skepticism. What it means to you? Skepticism can go up. So then, make a skepticism. What it means to you? Are you having that skepticism as a human being? Around the skepticism, steady mind. So that we have to take decisions by using kind of a question in mind. So as auditor, you should have proper understanding about the process. You have to question here and there, and then take a decision. So then the audit process, the using that question in mind, we can follow that skepticism. It should be very professional. Here and there, if you are asking question, then unnecessary question may not be the professional skepticism. Right? Professional skepticism, you have to professionally analyze and ask the correct questions. So that question should be very meaningful. The sake of asking question, you are trying to ask question. That's what professional skepticism. Kind of a waste of time. Yeah. A question should be asked by auditor. As I said the first day, if you ask the difference between the electricity expense last year to this year, how you are going to ask? So there's a variation about 50%. What's the reason for that? That is not the way you ask me the reason. So how we should ask? How can we use professional skepticism? So that we can see a difference 50%. Right? Tariff rate change 20%. Then the production increase another 20%. Right? So we are satisfied with the 40%. The remaining 10% variance is the doubt. Can you please explain that? That is the way you have to ask that question. That's the professional skills, right? That should be used for the proper audit process. Likewise, the question should be very meaningful. To the point you are to ask a question. Practice that. Then with that practice, we are personalized myself. ඒක ගොඩාක් කරාට පස්සේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. හැමදේම ප්‍රශ්නයක් විදිහට එහෙම බැලුවොත් ප්‍රශ්න 1000ක් වෙයි. ඒක ගොඩාක් බස් එකකට නැත්නම් පබ්ලික් ප්ලේස් එකකට ගියා ට්‍රේන් එකකට නැත්නම් ක්වෙස්චන් තමයි ඒ චැලෙන්ජ් කරන්න තමයි නේද? ඔඩිට කෙනෙක් නම් එහෙම ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකක් එනවා. ඒක සමහර දැන් යාළුවන්ටත් වාදයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැමදේ එකකට ඒක වාදයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අම්මට, වයිෆ්ට, හස්බන්ඩ්ට වාදයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ප්‍රශ්නම අහන්න ඕනේ. ඇයි ඒක? කොහොමද? මොකද්ද? ඇයි මේක ගන්න? ඇඳුමක් ගන්න ගියත් ඔඩිට් කරලා තමයි ඇඳුම ගන්න. ඔඩිට් කරලා නේ ඇඳුම හදපු මැනුෆැක්චරින් කම්පැනියක් ඔඩිට් කරලා තමයි ඇඳුම ගන්න. එහෙම වෙනවා. So skepticism ඇඳුම් ගන්න. එහෙම කරගන්න ඕනත් නැහැ. හැබැයි you can use that. You can take proper decision. ඇඳුම ගන්න use කරා ඉපදෙන්නේ skepticism. Professional වෙන්න ඕනත් නැහැ. skepticism එක use කරලා. ඇයි? එහෙම label එකක් නැහැ. quality එක මේ වගේ. So you can evaluate, right? You can question. What අහන්න පුළුවන් බය නැතුව. කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. So then that habit should be there. You can use to your personal life as well. ඒක revision වලක් තියෙනවා. So you should have a skepticism once you are taking decision, right? Revision වලක් කියනවා. අනිත් revision වලක් කියනවා. Think. Then whatever the structure, whatever the doctrine given by the leaders, so then we have to rationalize. You have to have that, apply, follow that. Definitely, you should have an understanding of that. Otherwise, you can't do nothing. You should understand it first and then do it. So then, සමාජ විද්‍යාවේ question කරන්න එපා කියලා එකක්. ඒක okay වෙන්න පුළුවන්. The question කරන්න ඕන නම් you have to ask that question. Ask that question. And once you are doing it quickly as well, so you have to be a very professional student. You have to ask questions and then you have to clarify things. Then only you can get the maximum outcome from the degree, not the degree certificate. As I said first day, don't depend on the degree certificate, right? The sake of getting the degree certificate, useless. So end of the degree, you have to be a real degree holder. Then only you can be a sustainable degree holder. Two different concepts. Be a degree holder may be easy. You have to be a sustainable degree holder, maybe difficult. The sustainable chartered accountant. So you can be a chartered accountant. You have to be a sustainable chartered accountant. You have to maintain that policy. You have to maintain that habit. So then give the service. Then only you can be a fellow member in this field. So it can't be done in overnight. You have to practice. You have to do kind of a commitment. So then work hard on that. So then as a auditor, as an accountant, this is the kind of a good practice you can follow. Professional skepticism. Professional skepticism for different stages in audit. You have to use that in planning, execution as well as execution. Keep in mind. So then, if I'm asking a question like this, so as audit manager, how you are using professional skepticism in your audit process? What are the answers you can think? So then, as an audit manager, how we can use professional skepticism? Once you are selecting audit team, professional skepticism for audit team. Audit team we discussed. So then, can act that professional skepticism angle. So then, accordingly, you have to give the answer properly. So what are the areas you have to consider once you are deciding planning material basis as audit manager? How you can use professional skepticism over that? The highly possible question. Think about that. So then professional skepticism plus audit process. Once you are selecting samples, how we are using professional skepticism. Question in mind, question it, challenge it, and take a decision. So sometimes audit managers, supervisors are telling the same story telling by the audit team. So they are giving the very gray answers, not an exact answer. So therefore, there's a variance in electricity. They are telling that we had a function, we had a Christmas function this year, and we had a BSAA function as well. We had a kind of a lantern competition. Because of that, the electricity expense increased. That's a very general. As auditor, can we get that? Definitely, we have to have proper, the proper evaluation, proper conclusion, and then only you can do a proper judgment. So then, to do a kind of a proper judgment, you should have proper professional skepticism. Group of skepticism, we can clear things, and we can get a proper understanding about the matter. And then you are pleased to take a professional judgment. Then only you can arrive with a proper conclusion. That is hierarchy. I hope that you are clear. So the areas you have to take decisions. So the standards, different areas are there. So once you are dealing, let's say, Syllabus 16, right of use asset. Right of use asset, right? Once you are recognizing right of use asset, you have to discount future rental. To do future, the discount in future rentals, you have to use the interest rate. Incremental probably rate should be used. To do that, use your professional judgment. But the interest rate you have to use for discounting factor. So these are technical, right? Do that, you have to have skepticism plus judgment. That's a pure part of a audit process. Then if you practice over this, then you have proper quality audit. As audit manager, these are two aspects you should consider. That's why I have extracted here. Right. Professional skepticism and judgment. And then this should be used for audit strategy as well as audit planning. Audit planning. So then basically here I'm discussing about audit plan. We start with audit and then we evaluate the independence, created the engagement letter, selected the engagement team members, and we focus about some quality aspects. We have that understanding, right? And then we have to we learned about some thinking patterns, skepticism, and how we can do uh, professional judgment. We learn about that. Now we are going to start this process. So then we are doing that, preparing audit plan. Audit plan, right? So this is kind of a practical process. They're working for you. Is it working for the CEO? Right. We are going to prepare an audit plan. Right. So then we should have the basic understanding of the process we came through, right? The accept the audit client and engagement letter and audit team, all are fixed. Now we are doing kind of a audit plan, right? So then audit plan, these are the basic steps. You can read these and you can understand what it is. So the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Kind of structured approach, you can customize based on whatever the audit you are in, the audit you are going to plan. If it is a very small scale audit, it may be a simple process, right? Don't spend more time to do kind of a planning, but it's a kind of audit for very complex area, like a Sampan bank audit, commercial bank audit. So then you have to spend more time to plan that. The complex major audit. So we are discussing about two different words: audit plan and audit, strategy. Audit strategy and audit plans. So the audit plan is a byproduct. It's a kind of a outcome from the audit strategy. Audit strategy means so the nature, scope, time, and direction of audit. Scope, timing, and direction of the audit. Audit plan means nature, time, and extent. Nature, time, and extent. Audit strategy means scope, time, and direction. Basically, audit strategy. Audit strategy means scope, timing, and direction. What do you mean by audit strategy? First, you have to decide audit strategy. Then only you can decide your audit plan. Now we are going to do audit plan, right? Preparing audit plan. What's a strategy? Strategy means general. To achieve a target, you should have a strategy. Right? So then, if you have a one strategy for one task, you don't have any choice. If you don't have alternative strategies, you can't, do a selection. Only one strategy is there. So then you don't want to manage, at least you don't want managers to do that. Why we require managers? To achieve targets, we may have different strategies. Strategies should be cost effective, efficient, right? No, it as well. To achieve that quality and the quality delivered by the correct audit opinion, we may have different audit strategies. So one complex audit, different audit strategies. So first we have decided what is the exact audit strategy for this audit. The strategy, firstly we have taken the scope, timing, and direction. What's the scope we are doing? What's the scope we are going to cover? And what's the time we have? And then how we can direct to that target. That's the basic strategy. Timing. Do we have the unlimited time to complete audit? No. We have a time. Is that time period we have to complete it? Is that cover for 1 year or 6 months audit or 3 months audit? So we have to consider that. So what's the deadline we have to finish it off? Right. So that's the time. The scope. What we mean the scope? Yes. Whatever the covering framework as well as the areas we are going to test. As auditor, what's the scope behind it? So are we worrying about the quality standards? No. We are focusing about accounting and auditing standards. So that may be our direct focus. So we are going to test, quality standards. We are not going to test, legal standard. We are taking accounting aspects. So that's our scope. So then understand the scope first. Understand the time. And then we can derive with the direction. What's the direction you can use? So are we going to do full substantial approach or derivative control approach? We have different approaches. We have to decide that. So that's about audit strategy. Firstly, you have to decide that as audit manager. What's our audit strategy? We have to use for this audit. That should be cost effective. That should be practical and That should be, very practical and cost effective. Other thing is, that should be flexible with the firm level. Otherwise, very difficult to manage as a firm. So we have a complex audit. We are putting all the managers to that audit, so we can't manage other engagements. That should be practical, cost effective, and flexible. And ultimately, the quality outcome should be there as a result of the audit. Okay, right. So, as audit plan is the outcome from that. The kind of a result of our strategy. Audit plan. According to our strategy, we are deciding nature, time, and extent of audit procedures. The list of that audit procedures, we can say that audit plan, nature, time, and extent. What are the audit procedures? What is the nature of the audit procedure we are going to do? Which time we are going to do that? Interim or final? Nature, time, and extent. What's the scope we are using? Which extent you are going to check? Nature, time, and extent. That's the audit plan. Nature, what's the procedure you are going to do? You will see your substantive procedure. Nature, time, which time are you going to interim? Interim is done one day. Make the done at the other thing. Right? In audit, we can do the kind of work allocation. We can do interim audit and then we can go to clear. There's kind of a time management. You know that year-end audit is a kind of an activity we are checking historical info, right? So then the kind of a detective activity, what is it? I'm not focusing about the prospective financial statements. I'm focusing about statutory audit. These are detective tasks. Tasks will already happened. Historical information will be tested for the conclusion. And then we have to wait till the year end. We have to wait till the finishing of the 12 months. We start audit. Right? So then we have deadline. Finish the audit. So then what we can do? So after 6 months, that 6 months can be audited. Once they are completed, we are auditing. So we are in a complex audit like commercial bank. So we have identified branches. So we have deadline within the 2 months. We have to finish the audit. So then what we can do now? Millions of transactions here and there, more than 200 branches. How we can audit that within 2 months? Like the samples, very the using skepticism. So the suggestion is you can do interim audit. What you can do is you can plan a 9-month audit, then start over that. 6-month audit, then start over that. You can audit past 6 months and then you can remaining 6 months. You can do roll forward procedures. Roll forward. Roll forward. You can get the numbers. If you have done audit, you can confirm the numbers, the September numbers. You have December numbers, only 3 months, right? You can roll forward. You can just do the kind of a variance analysis. You can justify that. Then is it good? Example, the borrowing balance. Loans and borrowing balance. Not about bank. Let's say manufacturing company, we started an interim audit, 9-month audit. You have loan and borrowing balance. How much? Let's say 3 million. 3 million balance. Year end, same borrowings are there. 3 million, right? Only interest accrual. What we can do? 3 million balance is same. Agreement was tested for the 9 months, and interest accrual was calculated and added to that. So balance is this. So we need to extra the procedures. So that's roll forward procedures. So then if you have a time deadline, what you can do? can decide whether you are going to do interim audit or not. Interim audit and year-end audit. If we are doing interim audit for have kind of an effective year-end audit. It's kind of a time saving, right? To do an interim audit. So then, if you are doing interim audit, you can manage your peak season and off-peak season. So you know that after 31st March, like April, May, it's a peak season. Most of the auditors, they are completing nearby January, nearby February. So then we can spend time over there. So the majority of the auditors we have completed. We have this photo opportunity. What's the challenge we have for this? Some of the auditees, they are not interested in interim audits. Why? They are thinking that always auditors are there. So interim එකකට දෙනවා year-end එකකට දෙනවා හැමදාම මේ මාස දකින්නද පාඩයක් විදිහට දකින්න. මොකද not good, right? Some of the good companies, they are again interested in getting audits, right? Why? So they, as a finance team, good finance team, they are really focus about audits because whatever the things they have done, third party will come and say, and they will give a conclusion because they get satisfied. So then we are promoting interim audit. Right? It's a part of the audit plan. Nature, time, and nature time, right? Whether you are going to interim or not. This time you are going to test controls, right? And extend the scope we are going to cover. Scope in the sense whether 50% of PE or 5% of PE. %50 of PE, 5% of PE. PE means tolerable error. The material error. Tolerable error. How much errors we can tolerate. Tolerable error, right? So the scope, 50% of PE. We are going to test 50% of PE, 5% of PE. What's the highest scope? What's the highest scope? If we have high risk, what we have to do? We have to test by using a high scope. More sample items. To test more sample items, what's the scope we have to use? 5% of PE. Let's say PE 100,000. Tolerable error. So this will be discussed under material calculation. Don't worry about that. Let's say it's a kind of a material error. So 100,000. 50% of that, 50,000. 5% of that, 5,000. So then you have to test more than 5,000 items. So then sample will be more than 200 items. As auditor, you have to test more. Scope is higher. So the more than 50,000, you have to test just 10 items. Right? It means scope is very less, the less risky area. So then with the number, you have to decide high scope or low scope. Number එකකින් වань කියන්නේ මේක 50 වැඩි. ඒක තමයි වැඩි scope එක කියන්නේ. AC remote එක වගේ හිතන්න. AC remote එකේ number එක full වැඩි කරන්න ගියොත් number එක වැඩි කරලා හරියනවද? නැහැ. number එක අඩු කරාම තමයි opposite side, right? So think about that. Okay. So here we have a para, small para. So this para is very meaningful one. The audit plan converts the audit strategy into more detailed plan and includes the nature, time, and extent of audit procedures to be performed by management team members in order to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to reduce audit risk to acceptable low level. Very meaningful, right? Different aspects will be discussed under here. Audit plan converts audit strategy into more detailed plan. The kind of a detailed version of audit strategy, right? It includes nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures. Yes, nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures. Performed by engagement team, which means the team be allocated. So, have we decided audit team? Yes. So, what are the qualities? What are the aspects you have to decide audit team? The same team going to perform audit procedures, right? Team members in order to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Sufficient means the quantity, appropriate means the quality. Always you have to use these two words, sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So, as I said in the first stage, as a student who are writing the audit paper, you have to use audit jargons, right? Sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. You can't say that as auditor we have to follow steps to adequate audit evidence, audit details. You can select, you can't catch here and there words and you can't know the right answers. You have to use audit jargon. So that's why we have lecture series, right? So then you have to use sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to reduce audit risk to acceptable low level. Reduce audit risk. Audit risk can be divided into different areas. Audit risk, acceptable low level. Can we reduce this to zero? Can we reduce this to zero? Can't. If it is so, we can issue a certificate. So we are reducing the audit risk to acceptable low level. What's audit risk? Doing a intellectual opinion. Basically, we discussed last week what's the risk. Risk being the deviation from the expectation. What's our expectation as auditor? Issuing a correct audit opinion. What's the risk? Issuing an incorrect audit opinion. So then we are issuing clean opinion, but there are serious material misstatement in audit. That is the audit risk. Risk කියන්නේ ඇඟටම තේරෙන්න ඕන, right? Risk කියන්නේ audit කරනකොට risk එකක් තියෙනවා කියන තේරෙන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් වැඩක් නෑ. වචන ඉගෙන ගන්න වැඩක් නෑ, right? So once you are doing audit process, as auditor, what's the risk we have? We are checking that we don't identify the statements. They have done it, they are trying to hide that. Because of that, we can't figure it out. What are the, is there any misstatement or not? Misstatement can be divided into two. What are they? Material misstatement and immaterial misstatement. එකක් හරි. ඒක divide කරන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් අපි කියන්න පුළුවන් mistakes and false statements. The statements which are done intentionally without intention. Errors, mistake and errors. But here in Sri Lankan context, top to bottom, false. But අපි මීන region එකේ හැටි වෙන රටක audit කරනවා නම් හරි ලේසි audit කරන්න. audit profession එක ලේසි. මෙහෙ කළා මෙහෙ audit කළා රටක ගිහින් audit කරන්න. මාත් ලේසි life. මොකද එහෙ කරුනේ හොරකම් කරන්නේ. මේ petty cash වල top cash හොරකම් කරනවා. එතකොට audit risk එක වැඩි. හොඳට plan කරන්න. plan කළා විතරක් බෑ manage audit team. මේකට යන පොඩි ළමයි ගියොත් අන්දවල. හොරකම් කරාට වඩා කොට යනවා හොරකම් මහන්න. Then audit job being here, basically a developing country is really difficult in a kind of a economic crisis, and then the fraud pressure is too high. Really difficult, right? Yeah, as audit manager, it's really difficult. If you are doing that procedures in a other country, let's say I was Qatar, then very easy. It's pretty sure that people are not doing frauds. There may be some mistakes. Once you are highlighting it, they are ready to correct it. Very proactive to correct it. Then it's very easy. The risk assessment part also very easy. But here, no, it's difficult. Right. This audit risk. Reduce audit risk. Audit risk then can be divided into 3 areas. So the next slide is that. You can see this. Risk can be divided into 3 areas. Inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Audit risk. Audit risk can be divided into 3. Inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Keep in mind that inherent risk and control risk related to audit. Detection risk can be related to auditor. It means client, right? Audit risk. Right? So audit risk means, as I discussed, the opinion may be incorrect, right? That what are the reasons, what are the aspects will be impacted? So the auditor varadinna puluwan reason monada. What are the reasons? What are the scenarios? Will mislead auditor may be misleaded. So then those can be happen because of auditee and auditor. So the auditor also can do mistakes. That auditee can mislead the auditor. Then we can divide it into 2. Detection risk, and we can say for both of them, risk of material is the same. For this inherent risk plus control risk, we can take combined word risk of material is the same. These 2 are from the side. Inherent risk and the control risk. Inherent risk. What do you mean by that? That inbuilt, inherently, that area may be risky. So the imagine that the point we don't have any controls. So the controls are the answer for inherent risk. If there's an area inbuilt, by default there's a risk. So then we can say that area is high risk. Inbuilt by nature is the risk. Don't think about controls over there. So what's that? As an example, identity, cash, inherent risk area. I can get one product. Product itself, definitely high risk. liquid asset, high value asset. What else? Risky, inherently risky areas or the financial stuff. Inherent risky areas. Cash and cash equivalent, there's inherent risk related to existence. Yes. Jewelry. Balances stuff. What are the risky? PPE risky. Which company? That is for a bank, manufacturing company. For manufacturing company or hotel, PPE is risky area. Telecommunication, very correct. The telecommunication PP balance is maybe the largest balance in the balance sheet. If they don't have investment, the PP balance, because the whatever the given team and all the things may be kind of a PP for them. Whatever the towers, all are PP. Then basically that this inherent risk may depend on the industry, depend on the region, depend on the company. There may be inherent risk specific to the industry, specific to the company, specific to the region, right? Inherent risk. A coastal region again and in iron related they are not around. They are so then there's an inherent risk about that. Correctly said, so we have to have fixed safety protocols in the company. The game shop, high security features, lockers, safety, and better rooms, hidden rooms, safe. So then we have inherent risk as a management. What we have to take? We have to take controls. We have to implement. That's the point we are starting controls. So then the answer is controls. Then after implementing controls, as we discussed last lectures, once you are starting a control, we have 3 different stages: control design, implement, and operation. And then once you are doing that control design and implement and operation, there's a doubt whether this control is effective, operation is effective, or design is effective with the company. Because of that, there's a doubt about this control, whether it's happening or not. Then you can feel that there's an inherent risk. We put a control, we have a doubt about this control, whether it's happening or not. That is the control risk. Inherent risk is what? Without changing the control, there's a doubt, it's high risky area, whether this they are or not, whether this value is correct or not, whether this item is there or not. Existent doubt. The Godaka theory is so Malkana Kanova. We can game make up and Mohammed, game make a so we can't keep it for long time, right? So for a so then if you are doing estimate, if you are doing transaction with related parties, the value. If you are doing kind of a insurance contract liability valuation, you are doing a valuation for biological asset, the value is correct. Oh, no. That's a risky area. For that risky area, you are putting controls. Then after putting controls, once you are putting the controls, you have expectation to control this inherent risk. Once you are putting this control, again it's creating a doubt. What is that doubt? Once you are putting your control, you have expectation to respond to this inherent risk. And then there may be a deviation of that expectation. You are putting a control. That control may not control this inherent risk. That's again a risk. That is about control risk. And we can say that from company side, we have two different risks, inherent risk plus control risk. So that as a result of that, the number of displacement depends on that. How many inherent risks are there? How you are going to put your controls, and as a result of that, there may be higher statement or lower statement. Can you all okay with me? In a company, there may be misstatement. Misstatement may be happen because of inherent risk plus control risk. Because of these two things, there may be statements. Inherent risk plus control risk. Let's say we can say inherent risk higher or lower. Higher or lower. So the balance level, we can say that balance is not that much related to inherent risk. Inherent risk is very low. Here, very high. And control risk, we can say rely on control, not rely on control. Rely on control, not rely on control. Whatever the implemented control, we can't rely. Whatever the implemented control, we can rely. So based on these two scenarios, we can develop 4 different situations. 4 different situations. So 4 different situations. Inherent risk, higher and lower. Inherent risk higher and lower. And then inherent risk higher, control risk, rely on control. Inherent risk higher, control risk, not rely on control. Inherent risk lower, rely on control. Inherent risk lower, don't rely on control. Right. 2 different risks can develop 4 different scenarios. What is the worst scenario we can make? As audited, inherent risk is higher, don't rely on. That's the worst scenario. Inherent risk higher, existence of cash, they don't have lockers. Control like a big. This case, you have debt, you don't have safe. But dealing with gold manufacturing company, you don't have longer sitting it. It means you have inherent risk, you don't have control. It is higher risk. Inherent risk lower, rely on control. It's a cool question. Inherent risk low, rely on control. So then inherent risk is low, they have implemented control as well. Hotel building existence of inherent risk. Existence about hotel building, very less risk, right? Building exist about existence, there's no risk. So we have put a security. So we are putting security not to stay on the building per se, So the saving other small things, right? But we are giving that kind of a security to the building as well. Lanka, Dorwal, so the people are putting foundation, which is iron, these things, and they are cutting those things as well. That's the situation. How we can do that, though? How we can, after selling that, they are using maybe for drugs. They are not getting some things to eat at home. That's not good, right? So as a human being, we can't do that. Those are happening here. Okay, such kind of inherent risk is there in South Asian developing countries, right? So then as management, we have to put proper controls over that. As auditor, we have to evaluate that inherent risk aspect as well as the control aspects. Whether we have that proper control or not properly, proper design, proper implement, proper operate. We have discussed about the stages, right? The hope will have that understanding. The control we have to design first, implement first, second, and then operate. Designing control features. Who, how, what, when. Who, how, what, when, right? So then we have to implement it, we have to operate it. Some of the situations they have done proper design, they have not implemented. They have done proper, the design, they have implemented, but they are not operating the control. As auditor, we have to check these three different areas. Have they properly done, properly implement, properly operate. Then only we can rely on control. We can control that, rely on control. Right? Audit this, inherent risk plus control risk. And then we have the detection risk. That's about auditor side. Auditors are using proper procedures and conclusion are correct. Are they using proper sampling method? So then auditors are using the relevant technological aspects, data analytics. So then auditors are matched with the required skill set. Those are the things, right? As auditor, he also a human being. He is also using some IT tools. There may be errors. As a human being, he can do some, the erroneous judgment. And some of the situations, the auditor can be very biased, right? Auditors also facing some, the difficult scenarios. So they have to maintain relationships, right? At that point, creating a detection risk. Right? So then for detection risk, there may be different scenarios. As a result of these three elements, inherent risk, control risk, plus detection risk, auditor getting a risk. Because of this risk, so there's a doubt of issuing incorrect opinion. For issuing incorrect opinion, inherent risk can be impacted, control risk may be impacted, detection risk may be impacted. Two of them from OTD side, one of them from auditor side. So in a proper audit, we have to manage all those three areas. From audit procedures, we have to manage these two. From audit experience and using skepticism and using proper tools, proper audit team, you can manage detection risk. I hope that you can understand what it is. So it's a kind of a complex area. You can, learn, you can get basic understanding and start to learn. Read some standards and kind of case studies and properly understand what it is. Right. What else I should discuss about this component? Audit risk. External risk, inherent risk, control risk. So you can see this repetition. This one is very important. Before considering related control, right? Thus, when aggregated with other misstatement before consideration of any related control, the inherent risk is a concept we are discussing before the control risk. Before the controls, inherent risk lead to a business risk. Business risk is what? Audit risk versus business risk. What's the difference between these two? Audit risk versus business risk. Is that a business risk that a part of audit risk? Can you say that business risk 100% will impact the audit? Are you agree with me? Business risk won't impact the audit risk. Are you agree with me? What's the relationship? What's the definition for business? Is that a part of audit risk? Yes, part of audit risk, not 100%. Business risk is something else. Business risk is faced by the management to drive the business. Yes. So achieve the target and objectives, right? So the management team manage resources to achieve targets. So there may be difficulties, challenges, those things you can consider as business risk. So the inherent risk we discussed is a part of business risk. So then those business risks may impact the audit risk, may create a financial impact to the financial statement, right? So these impacts have to capture what are the impacts to the audit risk. This is a part of the management side. And business risk will create inherent risk as well as control risk. There's impact. These two. So then we can say business risk will impact to the audit risk. That will help to the proper risk assessment. But purely we can't say that business risk is equal to the audit risk. So then business, how we can that still we have doubt. Business risk is what? Economic crisis is the business. Can you understand that? Yes. Inflation, high material prices, the business risk. Then again, audit risk is what? Issuing incorrect opinion. So the business risk created the economic environment, and then it will create numbers, transactions, anyhow. If this transaction happened correctly and record correctly and disclose correctly according to the financial statement framework and give it to auditors, and we are auditing correctly, then audit risk is we have a business risk, but whatever the transaction happened within that business is correctly recorded. So then it won't create an audit risk. Right? Because of the business risk, so the high competition, high pressure from the economy, so people are doing fraud. And that will impact the numbers. Auditors can't figure it out. If it is so, it will impact the audit. Whether there's a business risk or not, so that it will create an audit risk. It depends, right? There may be business risk, it will not impact the audit risk. Business will create a business pressure, but from the company perspective, they are recording it well, correctly recorded. So then that can be audited freely. But there may be business risk. The numbers may be impacted. That number may be transferred to the auditor's audit. It is so, it's creating audit risk. Right? For that, what we have to do? Proper control set. Proper controls may reduce business risk to a lower level for audit risk. So we have proper set of controls. We can reduce business risk to a lower level, and then audit risk. The impact from the business risk to audit risk may be very minimal. We have a proper set of controls. I hope you are getting what I am telling. So we have business risk. We have controls in the organization, right? Whatever the business you are come up with, you have strategies, risk management team, and you are taking actions. You have a proper control framework. If it is so, your audit risk may be very less. The business may not impact at your audit risk because of your control framework. So two different concepts, right? Again, we are discussing about some other word. What is that? Significant risk. Significant as auditor. So we have different risk categories. Internal risk, control risk, detection risk. Is that a significant risk to that one? What is that? Significant risk to that one. If it is a risk, we can analyze that risk. If it is a risk, we can analyze that risk. What is mean by significant risk? We have the risk. What do you mean by significant? Impact. The manufacturing company. What may be a significant? So then, how we can analyze that? Based on the company, we can say, no? Based on the numbers, we can say this is the area significant risk is there. So we have to evaluate what? Magnitude and likelihood of occurrence. Magnitude and likelihood of occurrence. What is that? Magnitude. If that risk happens, what's the impact on the financial statement? And likelihood of occurrence. So the frequency can be happen. Is that possible to happen? A high possible. High possible means here. If it is happen, the magnitude impact of the financial statement may be from millions. If it is so here. So the high magnitude, high likelihood of occurrence. That's significant risk. Risk එකක් තියෙනවා. හැම වෙලේම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි උනාට ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් නැහැ. Impact to the balances. Financial impact as well as a qualitative impact. Right? There's a hotel, right? There's a hotel. Let's say, hotel function එකක් තිබුණාම මිනිස්සු ආව ග්‍රාන්ඩ් එකේ මල්පල අරගෙන යනවා. Normal course of business, right? Ladies la මල්පල අරගෙන යනවා. අරගෙන යනවා. ඒක රිස්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? There's a high risk. High risk, but the financial impact, qualitative impact, reputational impact very minimal. Open security එක දාගෙන බලාගෙන ඉන්න එක පාඩු වගේ නේ. Very less impact. හැබැයි කෑම නවත්වන්න පුළුවන් function එකේ. කෑම so then අන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Poison වෙන්න පුළුවන්, වස වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම වුණොත් එන impact එක. වෙන්න පුළුවන් high probability likelihood of occurrence is high. The impact may be too high. It is itself a significant risk. Right? So likewise, you can decide in audit as well. So what's the likelihood of occurrence as well as the magnitude? Based on that, you can decide what is the significant risk from internal risk and control risk. We may have different risks. You have to decide what's the significant risk. Accordingly, you can decide on procedures. Right? So here we discuss different concepts: detection risk, inherent risk, and control risk, business risk, significant risk. Right? Always risk deviation from the different concept. Take it differently, develop the relationship. Business risk can create the audit risk. That audit risk may be a significant risk. So the COVID-19 is a business risk. First, create audit risk. It created impairment. Going concern risk is a significant risk. So we can relate all those things. Different concept have a kind of a link in between this concept. So they don't need, you can understand what it is. Right? Okay. Want a break, Bob? Right, so have a break around 15, 20 minutes. So you can come back. People who are joining virtually, you can have your breakfast. You can come back within 20 minutes. So to do rest of the planning and discussion activities then.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, the camera is not visible, so sometimes it goes off and on, and the things which you are writing on the board we can't see properly, sir. So the real time we can't get the lecture. I mean, like.
The other things I'm writing here is not visualizing. For that, I can remove it.
Sorry, sir.
Can you see this one?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
You can see, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I will use that technique because I'm using this. Now you can see, right?
Yes. Writing on the PDF, we can see, sir. Yes, yes.
This is PDF writing option. Otherwise, if I'm using the screen writing option, it is not visible. So I will use this, and then it will help you all. Okay.
Camera to see the things which you are writing on the notes, and the camera is also going on and off time to time.
Camera. They have to turn this, is it?
I think that the microphone is also coming with the camera, but sometimes it goes off. I don't know what's the reason. Maybe a technical issue.
What's your preference? Do we need into that task mode or this mode? Can you use this?
Now Now the camera is on, sir, for us.
So then let's fix with this. And if you want to change this to the classroom, we can. The better option is this, I guess. So you can
Yes,
see
sir.
what.
Yeah, better option is if you focus to the board, it's good, sir. We can see you as well as the board.
I will do that way. Don't worry. Basically, if you can follow the presentation, that would be enough. But if you want to see whatever the things I'm writing here, then we
Yeah.
focus about that. Way.
Yes, sir. Main issue is that we can't get the real time. Otherwise, we have to refer once and once again.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And sir, one thing, the TOD, can you upload the area 2 part 2?
All right. So the part 2 and part 3. So then we'll upload that. So I have already uploaded. It's not actually visible in the LMS. So I need to understand what it is. If you have more attachment, it's only showing one. So you share to the group, and in the time being, I will upload the LMS as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you are not audible to us. Don't know what's the issue. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Now it's okay, right?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear. Thank you.
Right. So we were discussing about audit risk. I hope that you are clear about this concept. In the sense, that's the kind of a core concept we are discussing. That's why we are planning audit, because we have to reduce the audit risk to acceptable low level. To do that, we have to plan it properly, and accordingly we have to perform audit procedure. Based on the audit risk, we are designing the based on the audit risk, we are designing the scope of the audit procedures. Audit procedures. Based on the audit risk, we are planning the audit steps, right? So then understanding about audit risk is very important about this subject. That's the core concept about auditing. Auditing is assurance. Based on the assurance, we are issuing based on the audit procedures, based on audit sampling, creating audit risk always, right? Basically, audit risk consists with inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Inherent risk and the control risk take into companion. We can say that both of them of material state and then detection risk. As a combination, we can say about audit risk. And go to here. The relationship. Audit risk equal to inherent risk multiplied by control risk plus detection risk. Because of these three reasons, auditor can issue a wrong opinion. That as a result of auditor's fault, company fault. Company fault, we can say that it's risk of material mistake. If it is a high risk client, there may be high risk of material misstatement in the company. It's indicating that there may be high internal risk. High internal risk. Management per se, they have not taken any action. They have not implemented control. So then this risk of material misstatement should be analyzed. We can say that that's a kind of a combined risk assessment. Combined risk assessment. Combined risk assessment. Through this, we may have different risk levels. Different risk levels. It may be low risk, maybe minimal risk, minimal, low, moderate, high. Minimal risk level, low risk level, moderate risk level, high risk level. How we are deriving this? Based on the internal risk and the control risk. So that you can say here, internal risk, control risk. Internal risk, control risk. Internal risk higher, lower. Control risk, not reliant control. Reliant control. Internal risk higher, lower, not reliant control. Inherent risk higher, reliant control. Inherent risk lower. Inherent risk lower, reliant control. Inherent risk higher, not reliant control. Inherent risk lower, not reliant control. We have 4 different scenarios. This aspect. Accordingly, we can identify. We can identify 4 different combined risks. If it is inherent risk lower, reliant control means risk level will be minimal. Right? I'll show you one of the real calculation about risk assessment. You can understand. We have to do this activity to accession level. Keep in mind that. We have to do this assessment to the accession level. What do you mean by that? So once you are starting, once you are putting our foundation, we understood that in audit, we have two different levels, assessment level and the financial statement level. Right? Assessment level we discuss under balance level. So then management per se, they have given confirmation to the public about assessment. If you are getting cash balance, so the management says that to the public, as at this day, cash balance is correct. Completeness, right and obligation, existence, correct. So those are assessment. So that level we have to evaluate this assessment. Not only to the balance level, the assessment level. So what is this assessment level? So this risk assessment can be done to the assessment level. How we can validate that statement? This risk assessment. This risk assessment can be done to the financial statement. Financial statement, 5 elements, right? So the financial statement, we can do the risk assessment, right? We can do the risk assessment. How we can do that? Because of this inherent risk and the control risk, this financial statement are misleaded or not? Because of risk of material statement. And then you can get one element over this. What is that? Statement of financial position. We can do that risk assessment to the statement of financial position as a whole, as a statement. Because of inherent risk and the control risk, what is the impact? Is that correct? That's the risk assessment for the statement of financial statement. So we had 5 elements, financial statement level. We got a 1 element. We can do that risk assessment to this as well. And from this, we can get a balance. What is that? Cash. $10 million. Cash 10 million. We can do the risk assessment to the balance as well. Whether this is correct or not. What is that risk as auditor we have? We are going to issue audit opinion over this. We have a doubt whether this is correct or not. We had a doubt whether this financial statement correct or not. We did that analysis. Financial statement with 5 elements, right? So then we had a doubt that whether this statement of financial position is correct or not. We analyzed that and design procedures. Then we discover with this what we are doing. We analyze it to the balance level as well. Whether this cash balance is correct or not. And we are not stopping. We are not ending with the risk assessment this level as well. We are going to analyze this accession as well. What are the accessions? Existence and completeness and right and obligation, presentation and disclosure, and valuation. So we are doing the risk assessment to this accession level. Whether what is the inherent risk related to the existence of the cash balance? What's the control risk? What are the controls implemented by the management over existence of the balance? And we analyze that and we design the procedures accordingly. Can you understand that? We have objective. We had objective to issue audit opinion over this true and fair view. And we can do a risk assessment over this as a whole, as a bulk. To do a sharp risk assessment, what we have to do, we allocated that to the, not to the balance level, we are going to the accession level. So this was given by the management to the public. What is that? This balance that. There's a 10 million cash balance as of the reporting date. Through that message, what's the message they have given to the public? As at this date, we have existence, completeness, right and obligation, and presentation list. They have even set up accession to the public. As soon as auditor, we have to test this accession. So then the risk will be created from the accession level. Whether this existence is there or not, management is saying about existence of cash this much. It's creating a risk. Whether is that correct or not? For that, we have to evaluate the risk at the accession level. Our risk assessment should be done to the accession level. Means inherent risk of existence of cash. Control risk of existence of cash. Combination is combined risk of existence of cash. Accordingly, we are deciding the procedure. Now we are at the planning stage before we. Firstly, what we have to do before we are planning, we have to assess the risk. Then only we are planning the procedures. Right. We have to do that to the assessment level. Your risk assessment should be done to the assessment level. Are you okay with me? Is that complex? Yes, this is advanced auditing. This is about complex auditing. You can learn this practically much. What we have to do is in assessment level. We can take balancer and flat rate. We assume that same risk, we do procedures. Is that meaningful? Yes. Sorry. Liquidity. Liquidity and these balances are different. So that you can't use the same audit procedures to each and every balance. So inventory you can count. Cash, physical cash you can count. Receivable can you count. Number of debtors, number of heads. Count. So the different audit procedures. Borrowing balance, can you count that? There's no count about borrowing. Different balance. Different balances mean the weightage for the accession may be different. As I said, existence about the PP and the building and 5,000 cash note, right? Same asset, cash and building. Asset category, current asset and long-term asset. But the different risk about the accession. So the existence about the building, existence about the 5,000 cash note. Or we are 5,000 තියලා එතනකොට 5,000 asset එකක් මේ building එකත් asset එකක්. Building එකේ කොහොමද තියෙනවා 5,000 දෙන්න පුළුවන්. So both are assets. That building and 5,000 note. But the accession risk level may be different. So then, as auditor, you have to perform audit procedures based on the risk. Because of what? Because the reason is what? The stakeholders, outsiders are expecting that procedures from you. Whether you have verified that or not, there's a higher risk related to this assessment. Have you performed? So the management has said, this is correct. Have you performed that? So then You have to perform that procedure sharply. Revenue cutoff. Revenue cutoff. Completeness of revenue. Revenue is a balance in P&L. So then, as a stakeholder, I am really focused about the revenue. Have you recognized in premature revenue? That's a doubt I have. So how about that? So the completeness about revenue balance. Imagine you are in the you are the auditor for Pizza Hut. Pizza means you are delivering pizza to the doorstep. You are having outlets. You are serving at the Pizza Huts. You are sending pizza to the doorstep, and you are closing the financial statement as at the December, right? December 31st night, that is happening right? People are ordering pizza here and there. After 12 o'clock, after 1 o'clock, they are ordering pizza. Right? So then you have to recognize revenue for 2022 for the financial year sharply. So that 11:50, if there's an order you are dispatched and you have handover, that should be recognized towards 2022. The order you are dispatching the 1 o'clock, 1st of Jan, should be recorded to 2023. So then correct revenue should be recorded. So then we have to evaluate the completeness of revenue balance, revenue cutoff, revenue. So there's a risk about that. So then for that risk, management should implement controls. As auditor, we have to test that control. To do that, to design the procedures, audit procedures, we have to evaluate that assessment level risk. Not balance level, not financial statement element level, not financial statement level. We have to go to the assessment level as well. From that, we can start. After doing the assessment level risk assessment, we are obviously evaluating the statement level risk assessment. After you are finishing assessment level risk assessment, we have completed the financial balance sheet risk assessment, P&L risk assessment. We have completed. Overall, you can do a risk assessment summary. In this balance sheet, these are the risky balances. That's it. So the more than cash flow, you have a risk about the balance sheet. Someone can do kind of statement like that. More than the balance sheet, I am focusing on the P&L. I have a risk about the P&L of this company. We can comment like that. That's kind of a statement level risk assessment. As a whole, I am giving. I am coming to that decision. How I come to that decision based on the assessment level analysis. I hope you are getting this. You have to understand this. There another here. I will repeat it again. Before we are going to audit procedures and then material levels, you should understand this. This is the core of the team. Analyzing the risk, then only you can decide audit procedures, perform audit procedures, concluding issuing the audit. Decide audit procedures, you should know the risk. You should know the risk, which risk? Internal risk and the control risk. Internal risk about the balance or assessment. Yes, assessment of that particular balance. Internal risk and the control risk. Example, you have to verify the financial statement of ABC manufacturing company. You have the one element statement of financial position. In that, you have inventory balance. In that, you have inventory balance. Inventory balance, you have accession. What's that? One accession, existence. Existence is a one accession. Other one, valuation. Existence accession. As at the reporting date, this much of inventory exists or not? That's the accession, right? So is there an inherent risk? Yes, there may be inherent risk. So we are dealing with highly valued and liquid inventory items. So then we should have proper controls over there. Inherent risk is there. And then management has taken controls. So then we have to evaluate both. We have to evaluate both and come to a conclusion what's the risk related to the existence of inventory balance. Whether that's there or not. That's the combined risk assessment. We have to evaluate the combined risk of inherent risk and the control risk to the assessment level as auditor before you are planning your audit procedures. Are you okay with me? Here, it's a bit theoretical, technical, technical by using audit words. As auditor, we have to perform audit risk assessment to the assessment level. I didn't think it would Galle for that. I tell you the fine. Okay. So we are in a university now, no? So we are dealing with elderly people, university students. We have that freedom. At the end of the day, request is not the subject, not the pass mark, not the degree certificate, not the photograph you took from the BMICH. You have to be a real degree holder. With this adequate knowledge, sufficient and appropriate knowledge. That's a degree. That's a challenge. To maintain that, that's another challenge. To be a sustainable degree holder. That's a challenge. Today we are learning auditing here based on this technology. I will do some digital technological audit aspects as well. But in another 10 years time, audit procedures, audit, the logic same, but the procedures, risk assessment, and what are the tools, those may be changed. From historical auditing to this sample-based auditing change to portfolio-based auditing. That. So the previously, historically, what we did, we selected some samples. So the 25 samples, 50 samples from the portfolio. We did some the analysis and we selected based on stratification or classification about the portfolio. We did some selection about 50 items, right? Blindly we selected 50 items. Now what we are doing? Now we analyze the portfolio. We analyze the portfolio and getting the exceptional item. So it means we are analyzing the whole portfolio. Portfolio-based sampling now we are doing. So then auditor are doing kind of a insightful advanced job now with the technology. So then so then previously what happened? We selected just payment. So 50 payments and check the voucher and concluded for the walkthrough test or DOC, right? Now what we are doing? The payments who not approved, there's no electronic signature, get that list. In 50 seconds, you can get that outcome. The payments, approval and the payments happen 2 different days. You have to take that. The payments happen the FOA day. Risky day. Payments happen the FOA day. FOA day is a normal holiday. So the can't be happen transaction. But we can capture more. Here we have 12 FOA days. We can capture the payments happen during the FOA days. So you can sample that, ask them looking. How about that? Now auditing is complex. So the people are getting complex, technological aspects also getting complex, audit procedures are complex. In another 10 years, this complexity may be developed at large scale. So expect to that, change that. to be a sustainable degree holder, you have to update that knowledge, technical aspects, right? Keep updated. So that's a challenge. Participating for lectures and getting the A pass for auditing maybe is peanuts. Okay. Right. That's about audit risk. That's about audit risk. If you have questions, you can ask, doubts, challenges. So I know that you have done on audit previously, so the most of the people having audit experience, you can share your thoughts, experience. That will add value to you as well as to your colleagues. So then mama කියන එක කියලා දැන. ඇහෙන්නේ නැතුව ගිහිල්ලා නේද නේද? අපි දැක්කේ වගේ එක දිගට ගොඩක් අහන් ඉන්නකොට ඇහෙන්නේ නැතුව. That's the human nature. Identifying mental situation එකක් නෙවෙයි. That's nature. Or then අහගෙන ඉන්නවා ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ පාගේ. That's a mentality we have. So our mindset going here and there. We can, it will be a difficult focus thing. So to do that, you have to have a peaceful mind. If you are in the problem, it's a difficult situation. If you are going through some difficult situation in the company, always think that your mind going to that personal problem or the office problem or whatever family problem. If you are not in a peaceful mindset, you will concentrate. I change your mindset. Think about it. But then, routine job, continuous provide break. So then it's the time to change. Your that concentration also try to grab that your friend's voice. So that's a human nature. So the perfume also saying once you are apply that, getting that the high fragrance, the smell is too much. You are addicted that, and end of the day it's not a change. What practice to the there. That's nature. දැන් වා ගෙදර දිනුනත් බලන්න නේද? අම්මා කියනවා. අම්මා කියලා කියලා සමහර වෙලාවට එනකෝ කියනවා. That's nature. ටීවී එක රෙඩි කියලා නේද? ඊට පස්සේ ස්ටාර්ට් එකකින් කරනවා තේ හැදුවද කියලා. අර කියපේ ඇහිලා නැහැ. හැබැයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ මම දැන් උදේට ඔඩිට් කියනවා. ටික වෙලාවකින් ඇහෙන්නේ නැතුව යනවා. සමහර වෙලාවට risk assessment එකම හෙන්නේ නැතුව නිකන් බලාගෙන ඉඳලා ඉවරයි තියෙන්නේ, right? So then what you can do is you can change that momentum. You can ask a question, you can ask something. So your colleagues are supporting me. But like other classes, this environment, this audience is very friendly. So the gestures, features, the eye contacts are very, with the lecture. So as auditor, I can read mindset, as I said, skepticism to that level. We can read people. So then that's not a magic, as I said. So if he's a doctor, so after 20 years, after 10 years time, so the patient coming towards the doctor, he can predict, he can as a judgment, what's the situation of the patient, right? That පොඩි වෙලාවක කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඔඩිට් කරලා තවරුත් 10 15 ගියාම නේද? හොරකම් කළාද කියලා මොන බැලුවම කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඊසිලි කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඇස් කතා කරනවා. හොරා. ලස්සනට කියන්න පුළුවන් හොරකම් කළාද කියලා. ඒක ක්ලාස් එකේ හොරට ඉඳ කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ බලන්න පුළුවන් ක්ලාස් එකේ හොරට ඉඳ මේ මාව රවට්ටන්න තින්නේ කියලා. ඒක නියමටම ඒ කියන්නේ හරි අමාරු සමහර කියන විස්තරයක් නැහැ. අමාරු ලෙක්චර් කරන්න. ඒක සුදුසුදී ලෙක්චර් කරනවා මේ විදිහට නේ ක්ලාස් එක. එහෙම කට්ටිය කියන්නේ ක්ලාස් එකේ නැති වුණ ගමන්ම තේරෙනවා. වාත් ක්ලාස් එකේ නැහැ. ඒක පොඩක් ලෙක්චර්ස් තේරෙනවා. මට විතරක් නෙවෙයි. Okay, so then you can use that after doing so much years auditing, you can read that. Okay, partiality, appearance වලින් කියන දේවල් අගාන understand and conclusion and summarize. So that's the kind of ability. එතකොට දැන් මම partiality කියන්නේ relations friends letter يعني මාත් එක්ක වැඩ කරනව නම් මේ ඔයා කියන්න ඕනේ මට තේරෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ conclusion හදාගෙන මේව කරගෙන ඉන්න එපා. රිලේෂන් එක එතකොට අඳුරගෙන. යාළුවෝ අඳුරගෙන. මෙයාට කියන්න කලින් තේරෙනවා. ඒක නිසා appearance වලින් සහ indication වලින් මොනවා හරි indicate කරනවා. upset වෙලා වගේ හිටියොත් මේ වෙලා වගේ හිටියොත් ඒක කියන්න කලින් communicate වෙලා ඉතරයි. හිතන දේවල් communicate වෙනවා. හිතන දේවල් හිතේ ඉඳපා තාම communicate කරන්න දෙනවා කියලා දෙනවා. නැත්නම් අමාරු ආහත් inform කරලා දෙන්නේ. From mother to wife to friends inform critically. හිතගෙන ඉඳපා. හිතේ. Advance communicate. ඉතින් ඒක මම ඉන්ටර්ප්‍රීට් කරනවා ඒක සෑහෙන දරුණුයි. දැන් මොන හරි තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ වගේ නම් සර්ට බැල ඉන්න එපා. දැන් නේද සම්බන්ධ දෙන්න. දැන් ක්ලාස් එක කෝපරේට් රිපෝට්. සර්ට බැල ඉන්න දෙන්නේ තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. බැල ඉන්න නම් හොඳට තේරෙනවා. It's a kind of error you can do to me as well as to self as well as to your colleagues. We can have a good dialogue once we are doing this. So we have experienced audience. You can add this experience to the bulk and have a good experience after the experience. So I'm giving that not only auditing, so I will touch upon this counting aspect as well after starting audit procedures. Now we are at the planning stage, right? Once you are doing audit procedures, can entry finances and discussing about the counter treatment, counting standard, guideline, how we can do the audit procedures. That's the flow I have, right? Then we can learn that as well. So once we are discussing, make questions, challenge me, how you can do this, how you are telling like this. So what බයලා ඉන්න එපා. ඕන දෙයක් අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඕන විදිහට ඉන්න පුළුවන්. පුදුමයි. ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්. වාට පීවිදියට ඉන්න. ඉස්සරහා වාඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. පිටිපස්සේ වාඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉඳාගන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර ළමයින නයිට් ෂිෆ්ට් එක කරලා. අන්තිමට ටිකක් ඉඳාගන්න. ඉඳාගෙන ඊට පස්සේ නෙක්ස්ට් එක. ඔකේ. දැන් ඊළඟට තාලි වලට තියෙන ලෙක් එකේ භාගයක් තමයි ඉන්නේ. දැන් ළමයිට පිටපස්සට යන්න කියන දිශාවෙන් ඉන්න කියනවා. ඉතින් දාගන්න ඕනේ දාගන්න බෑ. ඔළුවට හැරගෙන ඉඳලා දෙකේ සතුටු වල වැඩක් නැහැ. right? They have to be a very realistic in their life. Real value. So that we have to give priority to the real outcome. Don't be very bogus. Don't depend on the bogus transaction and bogus appearance. You have to be real. You have to be a real degree holder, real chartered accountant, real human. So then life may be very easy then. Don't be very for that. Don't need decorations, right? Don't be artificial. Be genuine, be real. Then we go on to the and accountant here. Foreign talent. Situation like a couch, situation had a friend. Within the framework, again, ethically, either attending the back part, and accounting. Professional behavior. So we have to adhere with code of ethics, right? So I'm telling that, but be real. Don't be bogus. So we discussed about risk assessment. That's a core part of the subject. Yes. Yeah. System of procedures. System per se, in the companies having different systems. That means IT system, and IT system consists with application plus operating system. Right? The application may be customized to the operation. In a bank, there may be different applications, content different applications. So then is a part of the control system. The controls within the operating system as well as the application. So that we can divide it into ITGC and application level controls. IT general controls and application controls. So then once you are evaluating that controls, we have to focus about that as well. If it is a virtual company, maybe application and operating related controls. Right? So the inherent risk related to application may be addressed to, as I said, ATM machine may be controlling what color. Card එකට කලින් හරියනවා. Sorry. කලින් වලට කලින් කාඩ් එක එනවා. තාමත් මේක තමයි ඔලුව තියෙන්නේ. සමහර කට්ටිය කාඩ් එක අරගෙන යනවා මේක සල්ලි ආවේ නැහැ කියලා දැන්. සල්ලි තියලා යනවා සමහර කට්ටිය බැලුවනේ. එච්චරට can't control truth. As a human being can't control by using controls. It's very difficult, right? Can't systemize. The people are, responding in different ways based on their thinking pattern and the stress situation. So they are come up with very stressful situation and they are putting the ATM card and they are expecting cash. Then previously what happened? So they are putting card and they are getting cash. He's going to forget down the card and he's going, keeping the card over the ATM machine. Now we are giving the card first, then cash. Now they are what they are doing? So they are not getting the message from the ATM. They are getting the card and blaming to the machine. Still can't see cash. So he rejected the card now, so I'm going. Then we are getting the cash. The cash will be collected by the next passenger. Right? So those are there. Those about controls, right? Controls were developed because of the risk. Mitigate the risk. We can't mitigate the risk 100%. Fine.
Actually, the model is working or not.
So then different technologies can be used. So then we previous risk is there. Anyway, risk is there. So the control is there. Control is happening or not is a control risk, right? So the previous what we had a book, right? We are putting that line or red line. So still this government entities they are putting a red line after keeping some lines over, right? 4 lines over, putting red line. So the people are getting delay, they can put name above that line. They get a fingerprint change around there. So then it changed the fingerprint. Then මොකද කරන්නේ? pin එක කපලා කියලා යනවා මේ ගෙදරනේ. මේක කරන්න පුළුවන්. Artificial finger එකක් කරන්න. Like a seal. The rubber finger can be developed. So for that tricks change to the ordinary methods. Eye contact can be identified. Then eye contacts may be recorded at the entrance. So then eye contacts and then it developed to the appearance. Eye contact as appearance once you are going. So then you have to give that eye contact to the machine. It doesn't work. You are going inside to the room, that machine can identify who you are. And going outside, definitely it can be captured. So to that level, it's advanced now. Sometimes in the whole So all the areas have been identified. So the system can be identified where you are. How many people are there in the room? That can capture. So to that level, that technological advancement is there. You can adopt that based on the risk you have. People you are dealing with. If there's a high risk about that, how about the cost you have to incur for the control? What's the cost effectiveness? And then implement it. So that's how we have to implement the control. Otherwise, who's the time? So we have 10 members in our 10 staff members in this company. They are fixing here the fingerprint machine. Fingerprint machine may be more than 1 million. Right? More than 1 million. So the database and all, we have put a CCTV. Who's the why do we need a fingerprint machine for the 10 members? The owner can monitor that. Right? So that is just before you are putting that technology, you have to do the cost effective. After putting that control, whatever the cost you are incurring monthly, there should be a more than that for saving. That's the point you are putting that control. Otherwise, you can accept that risk. So you have to accept that risk, high risk, high return. Whatever the inherent risk, whatever the risk you have, you can accept that, you may get a hit. You have to have a kind of a tolerance level to accept risk. So up that point, you have to accept the risk as a entrepreneur. So as auditor, we can't say that you didn't put any control over there. So as an owner, I can say, I can't put a control over here because the cost effective is this. I am accepting this risk. There's no problem about that. There's no risk for me. I can control that. That's why I am not going to put that control. That's the argument you can put. Right? Okay. Right. I'm moving to the next slide. Annuities trader perception. I'm putting all the members, and I can easily share this document with them. Can you see this speed? People who are doing this.
Yes, sir, we can.
So you all can see kind of a real risk assessment. It was done for audit. It was done myself for audit. So you can see internal risk higher, lower. Significant words don't consider that too much. Lower, and then reliable control and not reliable control. You can see minimal, low, moderate, high. It's a kind of a risk assessment proposed to the assessment level. So in the financial statement, we have two elements as we discussed, right? Disclosures plus account balances. Disclosures plus account balances. What are the disclosures? Risk management disclosure. Then related party disclosure, gratuity disclosure, segmental disclosure. And then we are coming to balances, cash and cash equivalent, balance. And then financial investment, HPM, held to maturity. Now we don't have this classification, right? AFS, travel to P&L. Now we don't have this classification unless in Palestine, right? So this was done for disclosures as well as balances. This was done for the accession level. You can see cash and cash equivalent. As I said, we have 4-5 accessions, right? See the inherent risk. How about the inherent risk? Inherent risk for cash is higher, right? Existence higher. Silent obligation lower. Valuation lower. Cash and cash equivalent. And then for cash, they have put control, rely. And because of that, combined risk low. Accordingly, you can design. Accordingly, you can design the testing threshold. So you can see, right? Other accessions 75%. Risk accession 50%. 75 over the 50, the highest scope. 50 is the highest scope, as we discussed, right? 50 is the highest scope. Because this 50 change because of this inner risk higher. So then we have to decide audit procedures based on this risk. So this is the calculation done for audit. Based on this risk assessment, we are deciding audit procedures and samples and all. So I will share with you all this. You can analyze according to the balance. You can decide. You can see. Let's go to. Don't have PPL, right? Here we have. Can you see this? PPL. How about the valuation assessment? Higher. PP&E valuation accession, inherent risk higher, control risk rely. Because if it is a building, the valuation is the high risk accession. Existence is no doubt. Existence lower. Valuation is a higher value. So then rely and control the scope may be higher. So as auditor, you have to perform this activity to the assistant level. The risk assessment should be performed to the assistant level. Keep in mind. I'll share this practical working with you all. You can analyze this. Accordingly, you are going to decide on procedures, right? Okay. Area number 2, slide deck number 3. That about materiality. This is a really important area. So now we started the audit, evaluate the client and the engagement, we accepted it, created the engagement letter, appointed audit team, created the audit, evaluate the audit risk assessment, we did the audit plan, right? So now we are going to have kind of a maturity level. Maturity calculation. As auditor, this is the high complex area. You have to use judgments, you have to do proper calculation, you have to do estimates once you are doing your maturity calculation. Maturity calculation. Why we worry about this maturity calculation as auditor? What's the reason we are using a maturity level? As auditor, do we need to? Depending on that, we are issuing the. Yes, depending on that, we are issuing the assurance report.
But it is a significant level.
Significant level. Why we have to do that?
We can take all the translation.
Yes. That's correct. We should have maturity level because we can't do test for every item. We are testing all the items. If you are going to issue a certificate, you are going to maturity level. Why do we worry about the maturity level? We are having kind of a audit procedures to take samples. We are not going to check all the balance, all the disclosure, all the transfer. We are focusing about significant account, significant balances, and significant class of transactions. This costs significant account and significant disclosures only from the financial statement. To select significant accounts, significant class of transactions, significant disclosures, we have to have a threshold. Above that, this is significant. How are we going to do that now? Can we give an exact number? Or is that a judgmental call? Very difficult, right? Give a number. So that we have set of financial statement. As auditor, we have to determine a number more than that material significant. How we can do that? Makes sense. So then it should be matched with all the stakeholders, all the key stakeholders. So then whatever the material level you use, should be carried with your stakeholder decisions. So the materiality. So this word was defined in LKS 1. Am I correct? Yes. Materiality. Instead of discuss under LKS 1, there's a definition. What do you mean by materiality? Materiality means that information is relevant for stakeholders. If it is so, it's material, right? Otherwise, you can set off. As a accountant, you can't set off if it is material. You have to disclose separately. If it is not material, you can set off. You can understand. If it is material, you have to do that disclosure. Material means relevant for decisions. Right? It's material. So the material levels should be addressed the stakeholders materially. So then after issuing the audit report is the adjective to the draft audit, draft accounts. What is that? That is audited financial statement, right? Audited financial statement may be used for decision-making purpose. That will be used by different stakeholders for different decisions. So then as auditor, we have responsibility. Before they are taking the decision, they have a trust upon us as auditor. So I am using audited financial statement that was issued by a big four firm. So then as audit manager, I have a responsibility to issue this audit opinion by addressing whatever the numbers that the stakeholders are using. We have to give that comfort to them. To do that, to perform audit procedures, we have a challenge. We can't do each and every audit process. We can't verify each and every balance as well. We are doing assurance service. We can't test all the things, but we have to select whatever the relevant numbers which will impact the stakeholders. That's a very challenging task. If it is so, we have to check all the numbers. No doubt about the materiality. Every number and disclosure should be verified and confirmed. That's easy. But here, we have to select exact numbers which impact the stakeholders. Right? I will share one of my experience. Around 2014, as I said, I am an insurance auditor, right? I finalized one of the insurance company. So my material level was the TE was PM. Don't think about too much about this word. PM 12 million. TE 1.2 million. 1.2 million. Dollar 1.2 million, right? 1.2 million. So then I finalized the audit based on 1.2 million. So that's the material level we are taking as a critical decision. Some of the once we are finalizing, big finance companies, finance leasing companies. So the according to material level, if you are using 3-wheelers, it's not a matter. It's not a matter to stakeholders. It's just a local company. Again, 2 million fraud that depends on the company, right? So for that particular company, insurance company, the TE was 1.2 million. I finalized the audit, do the audit opinion, clean opinion, and then after, so I archived the file. After 4 months, insurance regulator sending a letter to me. So under the balance sheet, we have a disclosure like these expenses were deducted after arriving to the profit after tax. Have you seen that disclosure? Yes, so that disclosure may consist with depreciation, salaries, director remuneration, and whatever the the regulatory aspect related expenses were there. Legal expenses and all, right? Donation, right? So the regulator says, under that note, we have 50,000 donation. As an insurance company, you can't do donation by using insurance funds. Right? So then have you verified this? Have you verified this? What is the nature of that? So that doubt came to me, and I went back to my audit file. So my material level was 1.2 million. Here the balance 250,000. How about that? So once I'm going to the expense section, there's no any evidence collected for this. It was indexed from the trial balance to the deed and then indexed to the final account. There's no single working paper about this balance. That is the nature. I don't know about that. So then what I did was I went again to the client place. So then I got a letter, and then I want to know the exact nature of this balance. What's the content of this balance? So I went through and I got the GL breakup of this account, and then I identified that. So that was captured to the financial statement because they are adjusting the some cash reconciling items. Erroneously, they have charged that account, whatever the reconciliation items. Some of the reconciliation items, once they are clearing these, they have charged to this P&L account. That was captured to the P&L account, right? So, and once they are developing the disclosure, they have captured here opening balance 0. Opening balance 0. So that is the doubt which has created to the regulator. Last year 0, this year 250,000. So then what's the nature of that? So then what I did was, so I got that exact nature. So I wrote a letter to regulator. So the balance under this erroneously extracted to the financial statement. It is consistent with some land charges. It should be charged to the other expense. It is not related to the donation, right? So what's my point? As auditor, I have to correct this previously. I can't correct it. I can inform to the management to correct this. I didn't capture this by my material level was 1.2 million. 1.2 million. But the balance is 250,000. This so then what's the matter? So then once you are designing material levels, don't depend on the number. So then as a regulated industry, you have to evaluate the qualitative aspects as well. So this is a very sensitive information to the stakeholder. As an insurance company, based on the regulation, they can't do donations by using policyholders' funds. If it is so, as an auditor, I have to test this without considering any material level. If there's a 1 rupee of donation, it's kind of a the legal value. So then, if you are using a monetary value, the material level will ending with the difficulties we just require. We can't address all stakeholders. So this may be a value which is used by a stakeholder for their decisions. So then as auditor, we are responsible to validate that. So then you can understand difficulty to determine the material level to audit. If you are deciding material level, that should be addressed the whole stakeholders. What can be mage material figure 1.2 million. Because of that, I didn't focus about 250,000. Because it's a regulated industry, so obvious that auditor should test that range of transaction. So then let's say if we have kind of a 50,000 legal charge. 50,000 legal charge, legal advice. Your material level 1.2 million. You can easily omit that. Insignificant value. But this kind of a nature expense creating a high legal advice. Legal advice means definitely company have a legal case. You can question about that. That legal case may impact to the company kind of a 50 million penalty. So then that may be a continued liability for that year. So then you have to consider that. So the amount may be very minimal amount, that the risk level about the balance may be really high. So then once you are deciding, once you are taking decision of a material level and a number, you have to be very careful. Right. So then once you are getting a number for material level, you have to know the gravity about that and should know the other balances, qualitative aspect of the balance as well. Right. So then in audit, we are deciding a material level to take decisions, but the decision should be taken based on the material level as well as the qualitative aspect of the balance. Right. The balances related to legal expenses, balances related to the tax related expenses, very sensitive, right? And balances related to liabilities. Liabilities. What is that? Liability. In a balance sheet, we have two risks. What is that? Overstatement risk and the understatement risk. Can you agree with me? Overstatement risk and the understatement risk. Asset, overstatement. Liabilities, understatement. So the management wants to show high level of asset, low level of liability. They are trying to do that. As an individual, you also say you want to show your assets, right? Or liabilities, assets. What may be weakness, you know. You can account it. Well, I will give my name at the gate. මට තියෙන්නේ මේ වගේ වාහනයක්. මට මම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ iPhone එක. මම කියන්න පෙන්නන්නත් කැමති කියන්නත් කැමති. මාගේ පේරන්ට්ස්ලාත් එහෙමයි. දැන් කියන්නේ කොහොමද? අද lectures වලට ගියේ. So that's obvious, right? You are trying to show your assets. Overstatement of asset. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩිපුරක් කියන්න කැමතිනේ. ඔව් කියන්න. Liabilities. වා මේ lecture ගියාට ඇත්තටම lecture ගිහින් නැහැ. නේද? එන කොහෙද ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ? එහෙම වුණොත් ඒක කියන්න කැමතිද? ඒක කියන්න කැමති නෑ. So they are not willing to, they show their liabilities. So as a company, as a management, they want to show their asset. Overstate, they are trying to overstate asset. Understate liability. They are trying to hide liabilities. That's their performance, right? In the balance sheet, we have two risks. Understatement risk and the overstatement risk, right? If you are taking based on the number about the maturity level, you are creating a risk. You are addressing one part only. You are selecting more than 1.2 million items. You are selecting more than 1.2 million items. You are addressing only one area. Overstatement risk only. You are forgetting the understatement risk. Why I am saying like that? So the management want to hide liabilities. So then there's a liability like 1.5 million. 1.5 million liability. Management wants to reduce liability. So then what they are going to do? They have issued some checks at the 11th hour. They are going to reduce that. What's the double entry? Cash, credit, debit to here. So they are issuing 0.4 million checks. And now balance 1.1 million. So these are bogus checks issued to reduce the liability. So this is an error. This is a fraud. Right? Now balance shows 1.1 million. Because they are trying to understate liabilities. As audit manager, you are selecting more than 1.2 million balances only. So you had a chance to select this because of the fraud 1.1 million. Now this is immaterial. Now this is immaterial. Now you are not going to select this for testing. Because of that, if you are purely based on the number, you are selecting more than 1.2 million, you are missing liability fraud. Why? Management try to understate liability. You are trying to select more than 1.2 million. Your strategy and the fraud risk may be two different ends. So once you are dealing with liability numbers, you should know that liability is always management trying to understate. So then, whatever the core liability balance, you have to check the unrecorded liability testing. You can't use a number to know the benchmark it, select samples, right? So there's an understatement risk. If it is so, if you are not selecting this, you can't identify this code. Because management trying to understand that. So they are trying to zero this. The liability is zero. You are not going to audit if it is zero. Are you going to audit zero balances? Yes, we have to. We have to check whether zero is that zero or more than that. It should be 1.2 million. It's not zero. Right? So to understand that, you have to audit the zero balance. Okay. Maturity level is the kind of a monetary value as well as the qualitative aspect you have to consider. You have to address the stakeholders end of the day. Right. So that's about maturity consent.